Welcome to our second episode of the Canadiens Cafe with your host, Nick Lariviere, and my co-host, Grant Gofredo.
Nice to
So,
meet you. Back to be back here. Glad to be
yeah,
back here.
yeah, it's been great. This past week, the Canadians have been doing a lot better than they have in previous weeks.
Yeah, nowhere to go but up, right?
Yeah, well, nowhere, yeah, it's true. I mean, now they're no longer the bottom of the league. And even just with those two wins, they are back in the mix somehow. Have you seen the situation? Like Boston technically has a wild card spot, even though they're under 500. It's just
Yeah,
every team is really,
they're kind of feeling the heat from the top teams right now. So yeah, they're definitely falling down. And
yeah,
then you look at Winnipeg and they've just continued to win. I
yeah,
mean, yeah, sure they lost their first game of the season a few days ago there, but they just
first game at
continue to
home, you mean?
strive.
But yeah,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
yeah, like that's they've been crazy. But aside from them, the whole league is pretty even out for a lot of the.
Yeah, yeah. And where I find we're at that point of the season where now it's like make it or break it. Because around Christmas or around the holidays is where really the struggling teams, if they continue to struggle, they fall even more behind and it's even harder to come back. And the teams that do find their way, they seem to kind of keep their way into it and kind of improve. It's very rare that you'll see occasions like the St. Louis Blues where they're like bottom feeder team
Yeah,
and then they change something and then they're Stanley Cup champions.
but it reminds me of something. I'm not worried about the Edmonton Oilers at all. Like they were still my
We saw them
preseason.
last season. Exactly. We saw
They
them
did
last
this last
season.
season.
Exactly.
And Knobloch is good. I heard something today of like the top 10 coaches that have a chance of getting fired. He was on that list, but the guy even said like, the chances of him actually being fired are extremely low unless they lose
Yeah,
like
and
10
speaking of
straight
that, like look at
games.
Boston. Boston, they pulled the trigger already, right? They
Yeah,
already
but
did that,
he's
and they
he's
weren't trying to do that. They weren't trying to do that with Bruce Cassidy. They for sure weren't trying to do that with Jim Montgomery, and the players seem to like him. But
Jim Montgomery got the short end of the stick. It's the
he really
management
did.
higher
He
up.
really
Like
did. Yeah,
they've
yeah.
gone through four coaches apparently in the 10 years that Sweeney has been in charge. I feel like
Yeah,
it's the GM that should take the heat at this point because Montgomery has the best record in
it
the
is,
NHL
but
over the
you
last
also
4 years.
look at Boston, and they are somewhat of a boys' club with the owner there
Yeah.
what's his name there? It's a big name. It's Johnson, no, I think.
Uh
No, not
oh,
Ken
you mean
Johnson.
their owner? Like
The owner. Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
what's
their
his
owner.
name? Jacob, something Jacobs.
Jacobs. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Jeremy Jacobs. That's
Yeah,
who it
Jeremy
is.
Jacobs. That's it. Yeah, it was
That's who it
Jeremy
is. Yeah. So
Jacobs.
he seems to have a very good relationship with the GM, but
Yeah, and
that's why Jim
Cam.
Montgomery got the short end of
That's
that.
why they got Cam Neely, Don Sweeney. Like those guys played for the team back in the 80s. They were like
Exactly. It's
it's something to go with that. And
it is. It
that
is.
was an issue with the Oilers of the early 2010s with the
You can kind of
Craig
argue it still is
Cabbages,
because
the Kevin
they're still
Lowe's.
around. Yeah, exactly. But I mean, Edmonton made the final, right? And, I mean, Boston did that too a few years ago. But
But ever since,
no,
like they kind of have gone, well, maybe in the beginning, and I don't think Montgomery was the coach at the time. I think it was it Cassidy the last time they made it in 2019.
it was it. I believe it was Cassidy in 2019 because I know he won. Didn't he win with Vegas in
Yeah,
2020?
well,
What was that? 2023?
yeah, 2023 he won.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So he must have been with Boston in 2019.
Yeah. And like Boston is was obviously a role model for what you want to build. I think
I
the Montreal.
I always say that I'm jealous of the Boston Bruins. I'm a Habs fan at heart. I am absolutely, but I mean,
Yeah,
besides like when I called them out when Bergeron retired, and I didn't think they were going to be as good, and here that season they won the President's Trophy. To me, that showed that the players there really do play with the Boston logo on their chest. They
yeah,
really do, and they always seem to do that. And Montreal needed that with their Canadiens logo for a few years, and now we're finally building that chemistry.
yeah,
You see it now even with the group that we have.
yeah,
The chemistry is growing. Like I love that little thing that they do with like group hug kind of thing.
yeah. Like
Uh,
the six players that win with friendship and they.
exactly. You see that, and like it there is maybe like some people that don't like that on a losing streak or whatever, but to me that shows its growth it shows that, yeah, we're not going to just take the beatings loss after loss. We're actually going to do something about it.
Yeah,
And they seem to get out of this kind of this little or this hump or this pothole or this little obstacle, whatever you want to call it.
yeah, like
It seems that they got out of this fairly well considering.
yeah, considering. And well, I guess now Tuesdays aren't a problem since they haven't been playing Tuesday. They've actually been winning their first game of the week.
Yeah,
Ironically, I'm
yeah,
just gonna say Tuesdays may really be bad luck for the team
it
if we
really
look at
might
it.
be for sure.
So far this season, it hasn't gone too well, but when they play Mondays, it's gone very well so far.
Yeah, you beat
Two,
McDavid and the Oilers.
two
You shut them out. I call that
Yeah,
a big
and
success.
the week before against Buffalo, that was nice. I mean, we couldn't meet up last week, but so that
No,
game was a
no,
game that we could talk about. That game they showed what they could do offensively and not care about defense whatsoever.
right. And
And,
that's a team. And Buffalo is like a team that you have to win against in this division.
yeah, and
It's yeah,
I think they're gonna be better than Buffalo, and Buffalo's around their record too. What was it? I think they're 8-9 or 9-9 right now.
yeah. They
Uh,
should be 500. I can pull up the standings right here. But don't get me wrong. Like I'm very happy that they got out of this. The Canadians are speaking about, but like let's not forget that Columbus is also somewhat of a bottom feeder team. And yes, we did kick their butt, but also that was more of like they number one, it was their backup goalie. So I am happy that they got that win decisively, but at the same time, it should have been an expected win. But I am happy that they played the way they did. The power play, they're actually cycling the puck. They're actually getting shots
yeah,
off the. My goodness, when was the last time I was
but
able to say that?
yeah, no, the power play has been kind of running all right all season. What's impressed me now is the defense is finally working. Like this whole man to man and just
Yeah, we're
kind of
getting
like
there for sure. We're getting there
covering.
for sure. We're getting a few answers. Yeah,
And that was the main issue I was having early on,
yeah.
like a couple weeks ago.
Struble is still showing some weaknesses here and there, but again, he's a
Struble,
young player.
well, Struble, yeah.
There's gonna be some errors there, but he's also a young player. So again, like there's always that give
Yeah.
and take.
He's
Um,
probably I think, yeah, well, he's the least experienced besides Hudson, but
that's exactly why.
Hudson's
So
almost
exactly,
generational, so you can't really compare
you
Hudson.
Hudson looks like he played in the NHL for 4 seasons.
Yeah, exactly. But
Like,
Gooley looked like a 5-year vet too when he first entered the league.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
because
exactly,
I
and
know
that's
your
why I
one
liked him so
problem with
much.
Gooley is
Yeah,
he gets injured all the time. Speaking of which,
it's something that he can't really control. Like that it's not something like it's something not angry even. It's
yeah,
something I'm frustrated about. But it's at the end of the day, it's out of your hands. So yeah,
yeah,
but that doesn't mean that I don't love Gooley. It just means that I want him to play more. I just want him,
yeah. Well, he
and I
does
wish him
play.
that I
He
wish
plays his
him
heart
I
out.
oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah.
Last game he got hurt. We were a bit worried, but he came back and
Yep,
looked like
yep. He
it
was
was
able to
nothing
play.
because he then
Hopefully it
went on
doesn't
to
lead to
score too.
anything, but for sure. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah.
He looked great, and Gooley really will be the shutdown defenseman of the future. Because I don't know if
I
we can.
see it. He plays like a big player. I love that. Romanov
Why-
played like that too. I love players that play big.
Yeah, well, I guess you kind of hated a little bit the trade of Romanov then, like Romanov. Sorry.
No, because the fact that I don't like that we gave up Romanov doesn't mean the fact that I don't like that we got Doc. I
Right,
love that we got Doc,
but
and at the end of the day, you look at it, and this defensively, we have players in that kind of you can take the position kind of thing. Like David Savard isn't going to be here much longer.
yeah,
Um, we already got rid of Edmondson. We already got rid of some few vets that we have. So the positions, like the spots are for the taking. So for sure.
I want to go back to Struble. What I
Yeah,
find one of the biggest problems with him is he takes a penalty at the worst times, like that high stick against the Wild.
he's learning how the referees manage the game, which it's gonna take game
Yeah,
experience to learn. But yeah, no, like it's a
it
stupid
was
little
hard to
mistakes,
watch
but
that happen.
it
But
is. But at the end of the day, you have to like realize that that will hopefully go away because if not, then that's going to be something that sticks with him, and then the coach or whoever is
yeah,
managing is
he's
going to
gonna,
realize he's going
and
to
that's
cost you.
you got to let him like learn from that.
You do, and he's also seeing how the referees manage the game, like I said. So he also learns, or he is learning how to play the game by. I don't want to say like the rules because
Well,
hockey is
rules,
very is it's played by the rules, but like
the
quotation
rules.
marks.
You know who's figured out the rules perfectly? Jacob Trouba.
Yep,
He knows how to
absolutely,
hit to the point of
absolutely.
where it's borderline to if he
Which
hits
I
a
find
little
that's
higher, he
BS.
gets
I'm
suspended
sorry, but
five,
like,
six times.
exactly,
But he knows how to hit
exactly.
in the shoulder and get the guy in the head, which causes the blow. And because of
Exactly.
the
And that also
rule book,
causes
it's
injury, which
legal.
drives me insane. Exactly. It's legal, but like you see the head cock back. It's ridiculous. And the league, in my opinion, has to do something about that because if you want to stop head injuries, then the head cannot just cannot just hit, like ricochet back. Like
Yeah,
what is
exactly.
that? Like
And
and
that's
like
where,
if head injuries are illegal, then if the neck recoils back, then is that not a head injury? Like I get that
yeah.
he's hitting him in the shoulder, I get that he's hitting him in the chest, but
But
my goodness,
if you
the
cause a
numbers of
guy to,
injuries.
if you cause a guy's head to go back like that, maybe you should get like a 5 minute major and a game suspension automatically in a
I
situation.
think we might get
It's
there
hard.
one day. And I get that a good legal check, okay, fine. It does look nasty. It does look like a bad hit. But we can't have these hits where if you lean up
Yeah.
and the guy just gets blown out
And
and the collapses on the ice. Like that's
that's the
unbelievable to
thing.
me.
And Scott Stevens in the 90s used to do that open ice, but now you can't do that open ice, but you can still do it along the boards. And Jacob Trouba figured that out, and
There was
he
a
does.
bad hit. Was it the Edmund? No, it was the Columbus game. There was a bad hit. I'm not sure who laid out the hit, but it
Against,
was a hit along the boards. I think it was Anderson that got hit.
yeah. I
I'm
mean,
not 100%.
yeah. Oh yeah, like a hit from behind kind of thing.
Yeah,
I
it
think
was
I
a hit
remember that.
along. I'm not sure who it was, but it was Columbus versus Montreal, and I think it was Josh Anderson where he just got leveled against the boards, and like even my dad said he's like that should have been a boarding penalty,
Yeah, I mean,
but
sometimes they
luckily
don't
he got
call it,
up and he exactly, but
but he got up,
that's
and
neither here
if
nor
he
there.
went down and they reviewed it, yeah, that could have been a penalty, and that should have been. I think I remember the play. He kind of just got hit right from behind, but Anderson
Exactly.
got up like it was almost nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
So when a
And
player gets
yeah,
up that quickly, they're
no,
not gonna review it. No one and
no, for
people
sure.
move on from that pretty quickly because if
Exactly.
you miss
It
it
was
with a
so nasty.
blink
Yeah.
of an eye, it's gone and it looks like it never happened. But then
Exactly.
there's those
Yeah.
hits that Truba does to like or does
Yeah, and then it takes
like
him out of the game or for games or for
Barron
weeks
missed
even
what
for
3 games after that.
Yeah, for sure.
But Barron, he's all right. I mean, he's up
Yeah,
and
he's doing
down too.
okay.
Like Struble,
Again,
those are the two guys I think that need to go up and down. Jack Guy has finally got his confidence again. You know what it took? I think it was that fight.
yeah,
I think
that was a
I
good
think
time to take it too because
he did
after that we really just dominated from that point on too.
him too.
It
And
was Columbus trying to take momentum away from the Canadians, and luckily for Jack Eye, he kept it with the Habs.
yeah, he maybe didn't necessarily win the fight. Yet he got
It was
cut.
a draw. I'd like to
It was
say
a
it was a
draw. It was
draw.
a big heavyweight fight,
And
beautiful
well,
fight.
and you could argue that he did win the fight just on the fact that the Canadians scored what three after.
Yeah,
So,
well, yeah, they scored three after, but at that point in the second period, they were slowing down after a great first period.
oh yeah,
They
yeah,
kind of needed a boost like that, and some people were
and that's
saying,
why I think that was an appropriate time to fight
"Why
for
were you
sure.
doing like a staged fight with a guy obviously who's from Quebec and wants to maybe fight in front of his family? Why?"
Well, it
Some
was
people are saying,
that.
"Why are you doing the staged fight?" But honestly, it was actually the perfect time for
Yeah,
Arbor
I
to
agree.
accept it because
I agree.
they
Yeah,
needed that.
because he probably wasn't even the one challenging. It might have been Columbus because they're the ones that are down. They're the ones that need momentum. So
No,
what are they gonna
apparently,
do?
no, they weren't down at the time. It was 1-1 at the time. It was 1-1.
It wasn't 2-1. Oh, okay, I might
No,
okay.
no,
So
no.
okay,
Because on top of that, yeah, then Jacky comes out of the box later, gets an assist on that
that I
Suzuki,
remember. Yeah, that was a
that
nice goal.
beautiful
Yeah,
snipe
that
on
was
Suzuki.
unbelievable. Yeah.
Suzuki has gotten better the last couple games,
Yes, yeah, he's
but
finding his groove again. Yeah,
they decided to also remove Slavkovsky from that line after he like smashed his stick and kind of had a bit
yeah,
of a
yeah,
tantrum. What did you
was
think of
he
that?
what
Like,
he was put on because I remember he was playing with Heineman a bit.
yeah,
Was
it was.
that
He
because
did
yeah,
one shift
exactly.
with them.
Yeah,
He on the
exactly.
fourth line, and he was benched for. for like 10 minutes of the game. He basically played one shift in 10 minutes because of the way he acted coming off the bench. Or coming onto the bench. I'm assuming that's the only reason why he got benched.
Could be. Well,
They didn't even really
because
ask.
he lost that battle on the boards, I think, right? That's
Yeah,
what
and
happened,
he
no?
was pissed. He was
Yeah.
pissed off about it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
like I could understand the situation.
Yeah, it was probably
And
something like that said, like, listen, if you don't win a battle or if you don't do something, then I'm going to bench you. And he probably realized it at that point.
yeah, exactly. He kind of realized it, and as a result, hold on.
Yep,
Okay, sorry about that.
that's okay.
Yeah, no, that noise. I just wanted to get rid of it. But
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, he realized it, and it caused a situation where he needed to kind of like calm down, and he learned from it, and he took it like a man, didn't pout
Yep.
or anything.
No.
It's at
Well, he was
20 years
frustrated.
old.
He was frustrated with his own play. So when you're frustrated with your own play, that's an appropriate way to be frustrated.
Yeah,
If you're mad at yourself that you didn't do the battle the way you wanted, or you lost a challenge that you should have been better on, or a play that you should have done something differently, if you're learning that way and you're frustrated with it, I think that's an appropriate way to show that yes, you're frustrated, yes, you're angry, but you know what you did wrong, and now you're gonna try to fix it.
yeah, exactly. Um, and he came out on Monday pretty well.
Yeah,
He
yeah,
played a strong game defensively. I think he got should have gotten an assist on the Gallagher tip in goal
yeah, yeah, yeah,
as he kicked it, and I swear he touched the puck with his skate alone to kick it back to Matheson, which led to the goal. So he
yeah.
lost out on an assist. A lot of people are saying it was unclear. He could have maybe just kicked Ekholm's stick. I talked with someone about that on Twitter earlier today.
Mhm.
And the truth is, it is hard to say if he really did touch it, but
Yeah,
I
the game
I
happens so
think he did.
fast, and
And
we don't have the best cameras available to us. So yeah, for
yeah,
sure.
but even the NHL probably didn't have a great camera because
True.
of that.
Yeah.
So
No, but he has, in my opinion, he learned from the benching there, and young players, I feel, do need to be benched at some point, just because unless you're McDavid,
yeah,
I'm pretty sure McDavid was never benched, but
but even Lane Hudson hasn't been benched. Like he wasn't benched
oh,
mid that
the ice time he's
that
played,
one
like yeah, for
play
sure,
against the Rangers. They gave confidence to him and just let him
yeah,
do.
yeah.
But one guy that has done really well this year is this guy right here, Gallagher.
Gallagher, you could have said two names and I would have been just as yep, like I could
Yeah.
have agreed with you.
The other
It would have
name is
been
Jake Evans.
Jake Evans. My
They need
goodness.
to get back together. Those two, when they'll be back together once everyone's healthy, I'm sure. And it's gonna
Yeah, it
be
makes sense if they would be,
they'll be
but oh
doing
yeah,
damage on a third line, possibly with Josh Anderson, who hasn't been bad either this year,
no,
despite
he's
his
been doing good.
contract and people saying, "Oh, he hasn't been," but he's actually playing a good game. He's playing his north south game perfectly, just up and down the ice and
Yeah,
battling in front of the
yeah.
net, and that's all you need of him right now.
What
Don't worry
I
about the
love him.
5.5
I
million.
love him when he plays in front of the net because that's exactly who you want to be in front of the net. You want Josh Anderson in front of the net.
Maybe we need him or Gallagher on the first power play because the one flaw on the Habs' first power play is Kirby Doc right now. He's the biggest flaw. Some people might say Mike Matheson, but Kirby Doc is.
No, yeah, no, I
I
could see.
Kirby
Yeah, I
Doc.
could see it as Doc. Yeah,
I find that the puck dies on his stick a lot this season because he doesn't have the confidence that he once had. Plus, he's a bit I think he might be a little scared, bit nervous, and it was a big injury.
it could be that it's just a spot that he's holding for until like okay, so if we take Doc out, who are we putting in for power play one?
Power play one,
Yeah,
easy. You could put Hudson, and you can just get the three forwards up of Slavkovsky, Suzuki, Caulfield. Fine.
and then
Um, if
yeah,
Line
that's
comes
you could
back,
do
you put
that.
Line there. There's so many options.
Yeah, so
Doc,
that was my answer. My
but
answer was he's
but the
holding it for
point
Line.
is it's not just about line it. Right now we have better options. We have
We
Gallagher.
do.
We have
We
Hudson.
do.
Why not put Hudson and Matheson together? Look,
That'd be
Matheson
nice.
doesn't actually quarterback a power play. He's got a good shot. And the truth is, Lane Hudson would be quarterback in that power play and just let Matheson shoot the puck like what Markov and Strike did back in the 2007 2008
That
season
would be nice. Yeah.
or with Sheldon Surrey in 2006 2007. That's something they could do. Matheson's shot's not bad, but sometimes he
It's
forces
been
the shot
improving in
because
my
he's the
opinion.
only
Like
guy on the blue line on the power play. So a lot of people are upset about that. Well, what if you get him in a situation where he can just one time it no problem? And
well,
that,
he scored goals when he did that.
yeah,
And when he
and
does that.
he can use
Yeah.
him Hudson with him on the power play. Now,
You could. Yeah.
I'm not the biggest fan, and I told you earlier, of those two together 5-on-5 because I feel like they're both too offensive. But on the power play, why not?
Well, that's the whole
I
point
think
exactly. Yeah.
I don't think Matheson deserves to lose his power play time. And
Oh, yeah. No.
yeah,
No, we're good. We're good.
Matheson doesn't deserve to lose his power play time.
No,
And
I think I agree with you there. Where
And the
if it's
truth
power
is, Doc
play,
hasn't been very good, and they do better when Doc isn't necessarily touching or leading the play kind of thing. Sometimes
for
if
sure,
he doesn't
I see
think, it
that.
goes in. Have you noticed that when they do score,
Yep,
it's because Doc isn't thinking, but the moment he tries to think about what he does, it's done. He
it could
needs
be
to get out of his
nerves.
own head.
Exactly, it could be
And
nerves, but that's up to like who he's playing with, even to just kind of even just remind him, like we're here to play and just again like the talent, like you said it. I think you said it before. Like the talent is there. It's just a matter of him not thinking about it and just doing it for sure. Yeah.
yeah. And yeah, so that's what they should do. I think they should put Doc on the second unit, maybe give him some more confidence, maybe play him to allow him to maybe put out his own unit for
Maybe
about,
this is St. Louis' version of okay, if you need confidence, we're giving you PP1 for the confidence, like
yeah,
it's
but right now maybe it's too much for him. And
right.
Hudson deserves more time playing with those guys a little bit. The second unit might
Yeah.
fall apart a little bit, but I think maybe Doc playing with Newhook, and I would honestly put maybe Gooley out there as the defenseman because Gooley can control the puck too.
You could.
Yeah, just
Minutes
change that
maybe.
up.
Well,
Of course, it would probably lead to someone like Heineman losing power play time, but it kind of needs to happen. At this point, I think the Habs should try Hudson and Matheson together on the power
I
play.
agree with you there for sure.
Just give
It's
it
more about
uh,
managing
two.
minutes. That's maybe my answer to why they're not doing this. But no, I agree. If
It's not Matheson is not the biggest problem. It's if Matheson tries to quarterback a power play, that sometimes to become a problem. But that's why you need guys like Slavkovsky and Suzuki in this current version to actually
yeah,
play the to control the puck and bring the puck in. They're the guys that are able to do that. They can
yeah,
control.
and we've seen flashes of Matheson able to do that too. It's
He
just maybe
can,
don't
but
don't
like
put it
he
on his
doesn't do it
shoulders. Yeah.
consistently.
No,
And that's
exactly.
the
Yeah.
thing. Like he can bring up the puck, but once it's in the offensive zone, he doesn't have the hands to
It's like a
keep
dump
it.
and chase game. Exactly.
It
Yeah.
become yeah, and with Suzuki and Slavkovsky's excellent ability to find passing lanes, it's amazing just how
Yeah.
good they can be.
For sure. Yeah. No, and well, all this to say the power play has been improving. It has been working. So, well,
Yeah.
somewhat working.
Well,
But
it's been working. It's top 15. That's a huge step from
you
bottom
want it, yeah,
of the league last
you
year.
want it to be top half for sure. Yeah.
Let me check here just to confirm where exactly it is in the NHL this year. It's really top of the it's right now it's 11th at
You're
21.5. It's right where you want to be. And their
that's good.
penalty kill has fallen a little bit, but
Yeah.
that's because of that little stretch before the
Yeah,
last two, three
exactly. Yeah.
games. But you got to look at it. And now the last three games have gone really well. defensively
Yep.
overall. I mean,
And
even against those
Vegas is a
quiet,
great challenge up ahead, you
yeah,
know.
Vegas is going to be a huge challenge. But what do you think about Caden Primo? Like, what do you do with that? He cannot, like, he hasn't played since their 7-5 win, where he may have been one of the biggest issues on the defensive side, allowing a lot of goals that should have been stopped. And honestly, it seems like Montembeau is just rolling now, and now that he has the
Yeah, and like
confidence,
obviously they like like you're not gonna have a Vezina goalie every game for sure.
no.
I'm just looking at the Canadian schedule right now. So Saturday they play Vegas, Tuesday they play Utah.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a chance for Primo to maybe get a
Oh yeah,
game
it's gonna
in.
be Tuesday, and then they play again on Wednesday. I can't remember against
In
who
Columbus. Yeah,
in
it's in
Columbus.
Columbus that
Okay,
game. Yeah.
but actually, no, that would be better because I
Yeah,
think
because it's a back to
it's
back and it's the second
no,
half
but
of a
I would
back to
say it'd
back.
be better for him to play in Columbus
I
than play
agree. Yeah.
against Utah. I think Utah is a better team, and you're gonna want your better goalie.
And it's the first leg of the back to back. And
Yeah,
you're home.
yeah, at home. The thing is, the home back, if it's a home away back to back, you're gonna want Montembeau in nets
Yeah.
mostly at home because they're gonna want to put the better show out for the fans at the Bell Center.
Well, not only that, but it's also 3 points because it is a
Yeah,
Western Conference team.
yeah. Well,
So
three
it's if you
points.
lose, so if three,
What did you say? Three
I said
points?
two.
Oh, yeah. I heard free. You said 3 points at first.
Oh, like 3 points in the yeah, three
Yeah,
points in yeah, three
yeah.
in the
That's what you
sense of
meant.
it's a Western Conference team because if you lose,
Yeah, I
the
was
Eastern
agreeing.
Conference isn't really getting those 2 points. So for sure, yeah.
Yeah, no, and it's yeah, free 2 points that you can get, and I think they can beat uh Utah. I almost said Arizona there, but to the point,
They're right up
they're
with us in the same record conversation.
well, yeah, no, and
Uh
they're not a bad team, but they're not great either. Like they're right in the mix.
no, yeah, their last 10 is 3-5-2. And
Ah,
we're
okay,
three
see,
six and one. Yeah.
that's pretty similar. But again, last year they were very similar to them as us. But I think this year it's both teams are going to progress, and that's what the
Yeah.
Habs did. Like they had a slow start, or they came out strong early, and then had a slow start
Yeah,
afterwards. For
it was realizing I said it before too. I said if we're playing a contending team, like a team that was in the playoffs last year, I kind of don't want to consider it as an like as a chance we're gonna win. But if we turn this around, like for example, if we beat Vegas, then I'll take that back, and then any game is basically a fair shot to win. Um, it looks like I was
yeah,
going to say something. I lost my train of thought here. It looks like Vegas is. I'm trying to look at their schedule to see if they have games
I think
before
they're
Saturday.
well, yeah, they probably
So they
play.
play Toronto tonight.
Okay, and is that and
And oh
then do they
wow, okay.
play
So
Ottawa?
they play Toronto tonight, and then they play Ottawa tomorrow. So they'll
Okay,
only have 1 day of rest, whereas the Habs they're
yeah, they have a
resting
lot of rest,
for
but
for 3 days.
right
Yeah,
now Vegas is leading their division, and
that's not shocking. It's
no,
really
it's not
not.
shocking. And what's shocking is that Calgary is third in the division right now. But they had a strong start, and it's good for the Habs pick because if it comes like if they don't finish in the bottom 10, the Habs get to keep that
Yeah,
pick.
for sure. It's
And
good.
if not, they get Florida's pick, which will be really much at the really pretty much at the end.
Yeah,
So there's no point in
Calgary last year, I find, was more of a fluke than it is. Like, I feel like Calgary is much better than they were last year.
on
You don't think
paper.
so?
No, no, they got rid of guys. They meant to tank this year. They basically were going into a rebuild mode to start this
I don't
year.
know. Like last season, I feel didn't reflect what they were.
But it's funny because when you speak about that, I thought this year's Boston Bruins is better than last year's Boston Bruins on paper. You cannot tell me that when they added a guy like Elias Lindholm to play
Yeah.
center.
No,
They
I don't
and
think they
that
were
that
definitely seeing themselves in a wild card spot.
but we'll see. And I know I mentioned Boston in a wild card spot earlier. It turns out they're like just looking outside, but it seems to be that there's really
Well, same amount
A
of
huge
points.
gap between the first wild card spot Rangers and the second wild card spot Islanders. Although we're only 17 to 21 games depending on the team into the season,
Yeah,
it's still you get to kind of look into it and see like okay, what team had a good start. We're almost a quarter way into the season, you know? Or for
for
some
sure.
teams it is a quarter way in.
Yeah. No,
But
I see us, or I see us. I see the Canadians battling maybe sixth, maybe fifth
oh, in the
by
division?
yeah, in the division I'm talking about.
Oh, they're going to finish 7th or 8th this year in the division. Don't even think about them as up there just yet. But Ottawa could fall back because it looked like they had a strong start, but they're falling apart
I think
as
that
we
was mostly
speak.
because of Allmark. I really think Allmark was doing them a service. At the end of the day, I mean, like Ottawa isn't a bad roster overall. I mean, yeah, sure, they're you can argue they're still rebuilding as well.
But it
But
seems that they've been rebuilding for so long. But
yeah, and
so has Buffalo. Yeah, it was 8-9. They're 8-9-1.
well, Buffalo for sure, in my opinion, they felt that they were like their standing, like where they were in the standings, didn't reflect where they should have been last
No,
year.
no,
They
and
should have been. They weren't they like right out of the playoff spots?
2 years ago. Last year they were a
Oh, two
little
years ago.
lower, but
Last
two
year they were
years
lower.
ago they
Okay.
were on the verge of finally making the playoffs for the
Yeah,
first
right.
time
Because
since
I remember
2011.
2011 because they were talking about breaking that streak. Yeah,
Yeah, they have the longest streak possibly in all of sports right now, or like in the
it is.
formation.
I think. Yeah,
What?
I think it is. I think that's been confirmed now. Yeah,
It's been confirmed that they do now. Okay.
yeah. I think they
Yeah,
own
with
the
Sacramento
longest playoff
making the playoffs
droughts.
a couple of years ago,
Yeah,
I think
exactly.
that makes a
Yeah.
difference. So it is long though. It's been 13 years. Like you can't rebuild forever. That's been a couple failed rebuilds. That's something you
It
don't want
has
to do,
been.
and that's why Montreal needs to now take the steps. Although this year, a top five pick could be really good because I do not trust Kirby Doc as a second line center. I'm sorry, but like maybe it
I
is his knee. Maybe I'm wrong, and he could come back. But I just don't know if he can win faceoffs on a consistent basis. If he can really be the guy that lead a line.
how
Like
old
we
is he?
haven't had
He's
enough time with him. He had like one really good preseason and a good season the year before, but before that injury last year, it looked like he was going to be the guy. Maybe even surpass Suzuki somehow. Now there's no way that ever happens.
could you argue that he's a late bloomer because he's 23?
Yeah, well, he could be a late bloomer, but also so he needs to just stay healthy, I think. Maybe we have to wait 2 years. Maybe he can be like Tage Thompson. But,
He
you know,
has,
that's why I want a guy like Michael Misa or
yeah,
James Hattons because those guys can play center no matter what
and
and
take
be a
his
good.
spot right away. Yeah,
And that's what I'm looking for at the draft this year. I think we need a
I
top
agree with you there.
draft pick only because Doc isn't looking really good. And maybe he comes back second half of the season and tears it up. And if he does that, then sure, maybe we'll
He's
be
a
in a
minus
better.
13 this season so far.
Oh, he's top
Yeah,
five worst in the NHL. A
yeah.
couple weeks ago, I think I mentioned like he was the worst in the NHL. I
At one
was
point he was. I remember that. Yeah,
Yeah, we were talking about it. It was ridiculous. He
yeah,
was a -10. He's gotten a little bit better playing on the first line, but if you notice that goal that they were on the ice for, Gallagher was on the ice with them. It
yeah.
was not it
I,
was not Doc. It was Slavkovsky, Suzuki, and Gallagher hadn't come off the ice yet. So it was perfect.
yeah.
What if you try that for a couple games? Because Gallagher
I think that
Gallagher
Doc
can
should
get
be third line.
Slavkovsky and Suzuki going on nights where they aren't always there because there are nights that those two aren't always the on their game 100% like Gallagher. And I think a
Yeah,
guy
but
like Gallagher,
when Gallagher's hot, he's hot. Like
he's
he'll find a way
hottest player on
for
the
sure.
team right now.
Exactly.
Caulfield
Yeah.
Caulfield has cooled down. Let's be honest. Sure, he's gotten assists, but I
He's
don't care
cooled
about
down,
it.
but you never expected him to go 82 for 82.
No, but you that's it. I always knew he was gonna cool down. This is the cool down period. He's
For
gonna get
sure.
some goals soon,
Oh,
but
absolutely.
he wasn't
I
gonna.
think now is the era of Cole Caulfield goal scoring, like no tomorrow. I feel like now we're seeing what he can
Yeah, well,
achieve, and this is
started
not
2 years
even
ago.
like a complete roster. Roster.
It actually started 2 years ago, the goal scoring era. But last year he came back after shoulder surgery and it made a difference. I
It
think
really
his
did.
shot really, he keeps telling people like in the media he doesn't feel any different. But I think it did make a difference. It had to. He was scoring way below his
I
normal
wonder
pace.
what his shots average is from 2 years ago before the surgery and now. I wonder what that is.
Let's check. No, I think it
And
was
I'm
more
looking
around like 15%. Like it was lower than what it is this year, obviously, because
right.
he started the year like so red hot.
Yeah.
But
And while you're looking that
um,
up, I just looked up how many years Doc has in the NHL, like how many seasons.
yeah, this is his
So
fifth
the
year
1920
technically.
season, what's that?
Yeah,
Sorry.
he's yeah, that seems about right.
Yeah. So Doc, when he started in the 1920 season, he has
Mhm.
64 games there. So that's season number one. I think anything between 60 and 80 games is you count it as a full season. So then there was the 2021 season where he had 18 games, but I think that was the was that the cutoff league or was that the cutoff season or was that the divisional season?
The 2021 season was the
2021 was the divisional season because that's the
yeah,
year the Habs were in the Canadian division.
yeah, they
So
were
he had
dominant
18
that
games over
year.
there.
Yeah,
21-22, 70 games. Then the first season that he played with the Canadiens, he had 58 games played.
yeah.
23-24 only two, and 24-25 19. So that's this season currently. So he has one, two, you can argue 2.5, maybe 3 seasons of full NHL
Yeah, but he's been hurt
experience
for
under
most
his
of it, you know?
belt
Like he gotten
for
hurt
sure.
every single
Right out of
season.
the
He has not played
gates.
a full season.
No,
Yeah.
I'm looking at it. Yeah, exactly.
Also that
The most he's
shortened
played was
season. I don't
70
know
games.
if you remember, but he got hurt right in the beginning there, right off the bat at the World Juniors.
Yeah, well, that was the year he was drafted, right?
Right.
Because that was he was captain of the team, no? Or was that Lafreniere?
He was captain actually. I think Lafreniere became captain.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I remember that. All right.
So sorry about that, guys. Yeah. So what had happened was we ran out of our time on Zoom. So
We'll cut it short from here, but
yeah,
just to finalize our
yeah.
points made here about Kirby Doc. Yeah, I know, like you were saying, he's been injured every season, and
It's becoming a serious problem, and you cannot run like that constantly.
yeah,
You
no,
you
you make a
can't
great
just.
point for a healthy competition in the draft picks
I
because
think it's
they're
the best
competing
thing.
for
And
his
worst
job.
case, you put him on the wing, or you put Haggins or Misa on the wing. Either one of those guys can go the wing. All the
Yeah.
This is could be the year that they even draft higher than five, but not at number one. So maybe 3, 4 in the draft. Because I
What do
don't see
we?
the team if there's more injuries that occur, especially if like Doc goes out, and then
Yeah.
you also have to look into is Evans a sustainable second line center? And no, that's not the case. He's a great defensively, but offensively, you shouldn't have to
Well,
rely on him.
I find he took after Philip Deno. I find
Yeah,
he's a
yeah,
great
but with a
shutdown
little
center.
less offense.
I would argue a lot less offense, but at the same time, I mean, we saw what he's doing. We see what he's doing this season, and like he's doing pretty good. And I wanted to ask you a question. Where do we see Michael Hage in all this?
Um, we see him like I see him as maybe a second or third line center down the line, but nothing more than that. Some people say they could see him as a first line guy, and we could maybe draft like Porter Martone. But I'm starting to think that one of Line or Doc cannot be on the team in 3 to 4 years unless you want to play them on the third line. I mean, could you work Doc and Line into a
Well,
third
Line
line?
has what, a 7 year deal? Oh, he has a 2 year deal, no?
Who Line?
Yeah,
Yeah, he's on a 2 year deal. Or he's got 2 years
2 year deal
left.
bridge. Yeah, well, not bridge, but like a somewhat of a bridge.
But so does Doc now has 2 years left too. They're both gonna end at the same time. So maybe you
That's
trade one.
interesting.
But if they do get a top five pick, there's also Porter Martone, who's dominating in the OHL.
Yeah.
That guy would be incredible. But yeah, so 2 years ago, to go back to what I was saying about Caulfield, 2 years ago, what was it? He had a shooting percentage of like 15%. So yeah, I mean, and last year he had 9.1.
Get
So
less.
he does have a great normally he does have a really good shooting percentage though.
Hmm. I believe it.
He's a guy that's gonna get you around he's gonna score around 13-14% of his shots.
Yeah, and that's about what I would expect for sure. I mean, especially if he shoots the puck more like he's doing for sure. I have no doubt in my mind. I think he hits 30 if he's healthy. You can argue 40, which it's not far. It's not a like it's not a crazy prediction or what's the word I'm looking for. It's not a crazy assumption that he
It's
can't
not
do
a
it. Like I think we all know that he
crazy
could do
prediction to
it.
make. That yeah, no. 40-45 goals. I don't think he has 50 this year.
I think
He's
no,
gonna
I don't think he has
eventually hit
50 with
50.
this roster, but for sure, I think
But
that he
like
can do 40.
once he and Suzuki have more competition, because Suzuki has zero competition. There's zero, well, competition. That's not the problem. He has zero
Well, that's
support for
exactly
him.
what we're talking
And
about,
Caulfield
right?
has no
Like it's been
what?
how long has Suzuki been on this roster? And yeah, Caulfield's been right there with him, but
Yeah, so he's
they
been
need
there
help.
5 years and Caulfield's been there for 4 years. So this is their fifth and sixth season respectively.
Dare I say we need a core four?
Sorry?
Dare I say we need a core four?
A core four. Well, yeah. You saw that today.
Maybe not for $40 million.
But no, like there
or
is
we
a
do it
core.
or we
Well,
do
there's a
it for
core
forty
three
million
right now.
dollars. There's a core
So
three right now, but or we do the core four for $40 million, but we're actually more
we
successful.
do have a
That would be
core.
I think that
Well,
would be even more funny.
we actually do have a core four. It exists.
Somewhat.
The guy we
Somewhat.
have Demidov. Demidov's
We do.
coming. We cannot forget about probably our best player being in Russia right now.
That's
This kid
very
is
true.
going to torch the league.
Yeah, that's what I've been hearing since we drafted him, and I can't wait for him either.
Yeah. Don't look
Literally,
at the
and he
stats.
can't wait for it either. He's been wanting to come here for I heard like 2 years now.
Yeah, he had learned English on his own because he had already planned
Exactly. Yeah,
for.
I love that.
Yeah. Anyways, so I guess this is it for this week.
Yeah, now we can properly sign off now,
Yeah.
and Vegas
This
on
is
Saturday. That'll be a fun one.
yeah, Vegas on Saturday should be a good game. Hopefully they come out strong like they did against Edmonton.
Any former Habs still on that team?
Uh, let's see. Not currently, I don't think.
I don't think so, eh?
No, not on their
All
current
right.
roster.
Nick Suzuki, former Vegas Knight.
Yeah, well, that's a former Golden Knight
Yeah.
who never actually played for them.
No, but he did wear the
Oh
jersey.
yeah, they have Tanner Pearson.
Oh, wait. They do?
Yeah.
I'm thinking of Monahan. That's my bad. All
Oh,
good.
you're thinking of Monahan
Yep.
in Columbus.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
All
no.
right.
Anyways, so this has been the second episode of the Canadians Cafe, with a few technical difficulties, but we got through it today.
Yeah, we talk a lot.
Yeah, we didn't think about it because this time we didn't go and say like, "Oh my God, we only have 10
Well,
minutes."
the
No,
whole
this time
point
we
of
just
this
walked
was so
through
that
it.
we get to talk. Yeah, for sure.
But that's
So,
it. No, and
yeah.
next week, like I told you, I should be able to stream via YouTube now with
Cool.
this account with the account, so that should help a
Yep.
lot more too.
And
I think
if
we
there
could
is
have an
anyone who's
hour.
listening, yeah. Oh, that's cool. If we do an hour, yeah, that'd be nice. That'd be clean.
Yeah, hopefully.
And if anyone is listening out there, no, I'm not calling from my phone. It's just the way my recording studio, the way I'm recording now. Hopefully by the holidays, I will have a proper mic. But
Yeah,
yeah, I sound like a radio caller. So
exactly.
yeah,
That's what it sounded like. It was cool though.
it was. It was. I kind of liked it when I listened to it.
Yeah.
All right, then. So we'll end it
All
here,
right.
and I'll see you next week,
Yeah,
or we'll
sounds
talk
good.
next week. Yeah.
Around the
All
same
right.
time.
For sure.
All right. Have a good one.
All right. Cheers.
Bye.
Bye.